Hello friends, welcome back to Carla's Kitchen. Today I'm going to do, I use the term quick loosely I guess. This is a normal after work type meal. So I'm using helpers like frozen shrimp, which I've got thawing in cold water, and box mixed rice that's already got the flavoring in it. So, you know, we all have our different opinions of how things are quick and easy I guess. But believe it or not, despite all the ingredients on the table, this is pretty quick and easy dish to come together. So it's dirty rice with both sausage and shrimp, as well as some oven roasted veggies, and that'll be the whole thing. Again, because we have a vegetarian living with us, I'm going to prepare the shrimp and the sausage separate from the rice rather than mixing them into the dish there, so everything will kind of be on its own, and then you put together what you like. So we're going to start by frozen shrimp. Tail on, unfortunately, was on sale for me when I went to the store. So I've got that thawing just in plain cold water. Once it's thawed, I'm going to peel all those tails off so that we don't have to contend with it at mealtime. And I've got a stick of butter. I've got a smoked sausage here, beef. You can use whatever variety floats your boat. I've got a package of dirty rice, and then in the seasoning compartment, which is sort of next up, I've got pepper, duh, garlic salt, Cajun seasoning. This is a seafood seasoning from my local crab house. I always get a little extra and hang on to it for any time I make seafood at home. You can use whatever your favorite seasoning is if you don't have a local crab house that you patronize. JO seasoning or Old Bay seasoning can be bought pretty much anywhere. So you can sub those in. This is just a little bit better in my opinion. Today I'm going to be using avocado oil in the sprayer. I've also got a little bit of hot sauce. I like Texas Pete. It's not really hot, it's more the flavor, and you get the vinegar pop with it. I've got white cooking wine, not vinegar, just cooking wine, as well as minced garlic, and then a yellow onion, a zucchini, a squash, and baby bellas were on sale at the grocery this time. Any type of mushroom if you like mushrooms. If you don't, skip the mushrooms and let that roll. And I'm just now realizing I left one thing off the counter. I'm going to grab some balsamic vinaigrette salad dressing as well and add that to the table once I get everything going. So you'll see that magically appear, and that's going to go with the veggie dish. First thing I'm going to do, as I said, you want to get your shrimp thawing. They're still a little icy, so we're not ready to pull the tails just yet. I might swap the water out there just to make sure we're good to go there. And then I'm going to kind of cut everything up to the way I want it to be. The rice also takes about a half an hour, so once the shrimp is ready, go ahead and start your rice on the stove top. And I do have the oven preheating right now to 400 degrees. So I will, we're going to do the veggies in the oven, the rice on the stove top, as well as the shrimp and beef on the stove top. So butter goes with the shrimp over here with this, and you'll see as the dishes come together. I'm going to go ahead and chop up my veggies, chop up my meat, and get my rice started, and I'll be right back. Alrighty friends, we're back. I've got the oven preheated, ready to go at 400 degrees. The rice has been started according to the box instructions. That's covered and simmering on the stove top. And now the next thing that's going to take the longest to cook is going to be the veggies. So I've got the veggies all chopped up here. Big coarse chunks, because oven roasted veggies, you know, if you cut them too small, they're just going to mush out on you. So I basically quartered the onion, peeled it, quartered it, got rid of the core, and then I separated all the layers. I took the stems off and chopped the baby bellas up. And I did about the same thing with the zucchini and the squash. I cut those into roughly half-inch slices, and the slices that were too big around I cut in half. The very neck of the squash is kind of narrow, so I left those slices intact whole. You can add any veggies you want here. You can even add cherry tomatoes at times. I just didn't, I didn't feel like having tomatoes tonight, if I'm being honest. So that's basically where we're at. I've got my sheet pan ready to go. The parchment paper that I use is oven safe up to 450, and my oven's set to 400, so no worries there. Just gonna season these veggies up, toss them, throw them in the sheet pan, and get that in the oven, because that's gonna take about the same time as the rice is gonna take on simmer. So I'm gonna get cracking here first. I'm gonna give everything a good spray today. I'm using avocado oil. Anything with a high smoke point will work. If you have olive and not avocado, go for it. I used olive oil the other night, so I kind of like to switch it up here and there. I'm just stirring the veggies about to get everything a nice little coat on there. Okay, sorry for all the clanging. And I'm going to go in and just douse it down a little bit with some of the balsamic vinaigrette. I use various types of dressings for this. Sometimes I'll use a French vinaigrette, which is the sugar-free kind. And other times there's this wonderful honey citrus dressing that I like to use. But I'm almost out, and they didn't have any at the store last time I went. So I figured with the dirty rice and the beef smoked sausage, balsamic would be a good pairing with that, with the darker flavor of that, and then the seasoning for the shrimp will kind of brighten the dish a little bit. And lastly, I'm going to go in with a little bit of garlic salt. You can just use regular sea salt if you want, regular table salt, up to your taste. When I use some of the other dressings, I will also add, instead of the fresh cracked pepper, I'll do a lemon pepper instead. It's pretty good with the lighter dressings. Lemon pepper goes really good with the honey citrus, as well as with the French vinaigrette. So now I'm just stirring everything to coat it. And easy peasy, we're going to dump it right onto the sheet pan here. Try to spread it out a little bit as I dump it. If you want to dump it all in a pile and then spread it, your choice. You kind of end up having to spread it anyways. As best you can, spread things out. It's okay if some things touch and overlap just a skosh, not a huge deal. You just get a better little char on things if they're kind of standalone, but clearly there's not enough room on my sheet pan, and I only want to use one, to have everything, you know, with space around it and all of that. I could use a second sheet pan, but honestly, it's a weeknight. I'm tired after working, and I really don't feel like having one extra dish to wash, if I'm being honest. So we're just going to spread these out as best we can with the room that we're working with here on the one sheet pan. It'll be fine. I do this all the time. I'm going to get that separated there a little bit, and that looks like 2 slices. Yep. So spread it out to your liking. Again, best you can. And if something's thick and stuck together, go ahead and with your hands and separate them out. And then I'm just going to move this over here, pardon, out of the way. And what you can do at this stage, if you feel like you want a little extra seasoning on top, just go in and give it a little top coat to make sure that all the pieces did in fact get seasoning on them. You do your best to stir it in the bowl, and with adding the oil and the seasoning, it tends to make the oil and the salad dressing tends to make the seasoning stick a little bit anyway, so you should be good to go. Now you're all set. We're going to pop this in the oven about 20 minutes at 400 degrees, and then we start with the meat, and everything should be coming together at about the same time. Begin to sizzle and go. Again, got the dirty rice covered and simmering. The veggies are in the oven. Now it's time to heat up the pans. I've already diced up the... I'll turn the fire on. I'm going to start with the diced sausage that I've got. I'm going to get the pan nice and hot. Give that a moment to get going. And then I'm going to throw the shrimp on. The shrimp I've got was already cooked and deveined and peeled except for the tails. So that's thawed. Tails are off. And it's just sitting on a towel draining right now. So we're just going to throw those in, and basically we're heating them up and getting seasoning on them today. If they were raw, it would take a little bit longer for them to cook, but not that much. Shrimp come up pretty quickly. And we don't want to overdo it with the shrimp because then they're chewy and that's not the best flavor. So if you're not using the stainless steel pans, you don't need to necessarily wait quite as long for them to heat up. But I don't want to scorch my pan, so I do the water test, and it is not hot yet. I'm going to toss that up. Crank the heat up a little bit, give it another minute, sizzle stage. Want it a little bit hotter. There we go, it's dancing around. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but we are there. So, I'm going to take the same avocado oil again, and I'm going to take my pan off of the fire, spread it. Let that coat in the pan for a minute. And add the beef. Spread that out, it's sear and stick. I'm going to turn the flame down just a little bit. Don't necessarily want it blackened. Just want a little char to it. And this is optional, but while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle just a little bit of the Cajun seasoning across the top here. That around so the seasoning gets all over and so you get little brown spots starting to form. So I kind of want to fold it to get other sides of the meat to brown as well. Basically, again, we're just heating here and getting a little bit of crisp on the edges of the cube pieces. Turn that flame down a skosh more. And I'm going to pop over here to the other burner where I've got rice going. I'm just going to check it and stir it. We're good. Still cooking, plenty of water in there. It was starting to foam up a little bit, so I'm going to leave just a little crack on the lid so we don't have a boil over situation. And now I'm going to get this pan here ready to go. Alright. I'm going to go at about a medium heat because again, as I said, the shrimp doesn't take very long. And I've got this beef turned down to a low heat now that it's going in the pan because I'm going to be paying attention to the shrimp a little bit, so I don't want to overdo it. And have crispy little bits of beef. And a little bit of crisp, but not overly. So there we go, just stir them around a bit. Let those form another little crisp on there, and if you want another layer of seasoning is fine. Okay. And now we're heating up here for the shrimp. I'm going to go ahead and throw about a half stick of butter in the pan. Get that melting. I'm going to leave it off to the side because I might need to add a little bit more. That remains to be seen. But first we want to just get this initial amount going. It's melting down good. Stir it around. You want to coat the whole pan so the shrimp don't stick. And we're going to start adding flavor as soon as that is liquefied. Banging for your ears, sorry about that. Okay. Now that that's going, I'm going to add a heaping spoon of the minced garlic with juice. Get that going. And again, I'm at a medium heat. I just didn't totally preheat this pan like I did for the other. Stir the garlic around, let that go for 30 seconds, a minute, until you really smell it happening. I'm guessing the smells are wafting into the living room because the dog has decided to join me, so almost there. If you don't have a doggy meter, just use your own nose. And I can see it's starting to sizzle a little bit. We don't really want the garlic to brown all the way just yet. We just want to continue building flavors as we go along here. And again, you know, everything you see me doing, totally optional. I am going to do a few shakes of the Texas Pete. It's not really that hot. It's more just adding, you know, a vinegar base with the flavor of peppers. I'm going to mix that around. No, I didn't drop anything. Thanks for checking, honey. Okay. You can see little sizzles happening around. Smell the flavors coming together. I'm going to hop back over. Whoops. And knock my head into the tripod. Sorry, gang. These are browning nicely, and it's nice and controlled. I'm not burning the meat at this stage. Had I left it on a medium-high flame, like I had it on to heat up, I probably would be risking, you know, a little overcharring on the meat. I'm going to turn it up a skosh. So I went from like a 2.5 to 4 on the gas stove here. Okay. And now I can see the color changes happening over here, and I see more bubbles sizzling. And I can certainly smell the hot sauce cooking. So next I'm going to go in with my white wine. Go ahead and mix that around. Try to get everything to incorporate a little bit. You can see the pan's nice and hot. It's sizzling as the fresh room temperature liquid hits the edges. And we have a little bit of foam starting to happen here with the butter. Okay, so the last step before I add the shrimp is I'm going to take my crab seasoning and I'm going to go ahead and put some into the sauce. Stir that about. And we're ready for the shrimp. Bring my plate of shrimp over. And I'm just going to take handfuls because I don't really want to splash the sauce out. And if possible, I'd like to get the shrimp down in a single layer so they cook a little bit better, more evenly. We're going to stir those to coat. Try to do a little bit of a fold so both sides get the seasoning on them. And then again, press everything out into a single layer as best you can. It's hot now, so keep your hands out of the pot. And the last step is going to be, again, go in with the crab seasoning and do a little sprinkle on top of the shrimp. Particularly if you're using a raw shrimp and you want to make sure everything cooks evenly and quickly, go ahead and throw a lid on that pot, and that'll help keep the steam in there as well. Cook the top side of the shrimp so you don't have to continue flipping them. to get even cooking. Check the beef. Make sure that's continuing to cook on all sides. I kind of do a stir and a fold, flip it all over. And adjust your flame as needed now, because you can kind of babysit this side a little bit more. So if you want a little more char on your meat, you can go ahead and turn your flame up a skosh. And that's pretty much it. Wait until everything's done cooking. When your veggies are to your liking, the consistency that you like, the tenderness that you want, pull those out of the oven. When the rice has absorbed all the water, give that a good stir, take it off the heat, and then have your your proteins on the side, or you can mix those into your rice if you don't have a need to keep them on the side. And that's your meal. Go ahead and give your shrimp a check. I'm gonna stir. And a taste test. So good. And if you like, you can even throw a little garlic salt in this pan. I know we've already got minced garlic in there, but the garlic salt kind of just adds another dimension in my opinion. And consistency wise, they look about done. So I'm going to put the lid back on and turn the heat off for the shrimp. And I'm going to grab my spoon here. The rice is almost done. There's still a little bit of liquid in there to absorb. So we're going to let that go another just a couple of minutes, and that should be good to go. And I will check my veggies here in just a moment. There we go. Now the beef is coming up to color, getting that caramelization all over. That's what I prefer, just a little caramelized, not, you know, carbonized, if you will, and not a blackened beef. That's not what we're going for here. I do like certain dishes blackened, just not this one. So, gonna give that a couple more minutes, and then we'll check in once everything's out for serving. And here we have it, friends. Everything is ready to go. So, serve it however you like. This is my preference. I'll just get a bowl out, throw some of the rice in there, and sort of make a one dish meal. And I like to add some of that juice from the shrimp. Why waste a good thing, and kind of just drizzle that all over. Some of these caramelized beef bits got just enough crispy on them, as well as some of these veggies that have a nice little oven char and some wilt. And again, you know, include or omit anything that you prefer into the dish. I hope you try it and enjoy. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.